Success story, SP number 100. We are on 100 success stories on this channel. This is from Cindy in London, UK. The 3D finally caught up with our paths and they have aligned again. As you might remember, things fell apart in a very big way earlier this year, leaving me with no choice but to pick up the broken pieces and put myself back together again. It's been a painful experience, if I'm honest. I returned to therapy in January. Interestingly, prior to receiving the news of my SP's life update, I felt very heavy in my heart, like there was something constricting it, so I preemptively booked myself in for counseling with my former therapist. I contacted her in December, but she couldn't see me until January, and this forced my hand to do some pretty intense grieving. In doing this, it meant that by the time I returned to therapy, I was ready to be open, honest, and transparent. In these sessions, I delved into my core, ultimately realizing I was a perpetual victim, which is so far from who I am. I am not a victim ordinarily, but I am an undercover people pleaser. I did ultimately want the people around me to approve of or praise my decision making. So what did this mean? It meant that there was a story to change along the path of least resistance. When things fell apart, I finally got the 3D confirmation I needed. Friends and family telling me how proud they were of my decisions, how decisive I am, how much they admired my decision making, how I make them want to follow my heart. Doing the self-love, everything has improved. I started a non-profit, a podcast. I was miserable in my work and I landed a promotion doing meaningful work that allows me the free time to run my non-profit. My relationships with my friends have improved and I love making time for them and I love that they make time for me. I am happy. I'd been dating and it had been nice. I pretty much left the LOA stuff alone, figuring I was the exception to the rule, that it wouldn't really work for me. Well, I was wrong. While I was focusing on myself, my SP kept reaching out. I told him I had nothing for him, and if he couldn't acknowledge there was a reason why he was always wanting some form of contact with me whilst making decisions that pulled him away, that didn't actually make him happy, I really had nothing to offer. I wished him the best, genuinely, and I haven't got the brain power to wish him the worst. He'd reach out and I'd ignore. Eventually, a few weeks ago, he reached out about my birthday to see if I had plans. I did, but he asked if I would be willing to make some time for him to take me out. I was hesitant and I said I wasn't comfortable given what I knew of his situation. He told me he had something to tell me about that. Nervous, I agreed. Figuring it, if nothing else, I could test how much I'd changed, as I no longer felt any anxiety when he contacted or would interact with my social media. I consciously made choices to not engage or allow any emotional charge go his way. Always neutral, peaceful, and calm. Anyway, I met him for dinner after my birthday and he had chosen a restaurant with sentimental value. Again, I chose to be neutral, dropping the old story, thinking I'd at least be in for a lovely meal. As dinner progressed and he talked, I listened. It was, in my mind, time for him to do the talking. I'd done enough talking over the years. I learned a lot. Seems he's done a lot of growing, thinking and changing in his own way at his own pace, which is great for him. I learned his relationship had come to an end mutually. She accepted his heart had always been elsewhere. Apparently, I came up a lot in conversation. There was a time where I would affirm I was always on his mind. Before I knew about him marrying someone else, of course. He realized that he had tried to fill a hole in his heart with someone else, and while the other lady was lovely in her own way, she wasn't me. Which is a semi-compliment, I suppose. Anyway, he did a lot of talking and he asked if I would consider dating him. I was shocked. For years, that was all I wanted, and when I didn't really care for it and felt even more far-fetched, it felt even more far-fetched is when it finally came. Honestly, I didn't jump at the offer because, as he'd said before, we had a lot of history, and the marrying someone else thing just felt like a crazy dagger in my heart. I let it sit for a few days. He called. There was something different in his voice. He asked to come to see me to talk. We sat in his car. Strangely, a lot of our relationship has been conversations in the car. He held my hand and I listened some more, and I looked into his eyes where there had previously been emptiness, hollow even. There was life behind his eyes when he looked at me. He said something I used to dream about him saying that used to feel far-fetched and, to be honest, like a complete fantasy. He told me he was sorry that he tried to build a life with someone else, that he remembered before our split how I used to say if he got all those things he wanted in life and I wasn't there, would he still enjoy it? He realized and accepts that without me around, all the achievements felt empty. We had worked so hard as a couple and individuals, and when he had big successes, he wanted me there. He lost his job a few times, and the extra time, I guess, gave him some time to reflect. The same had happened when we were together, and I suppose the new person gave something to compare to. He decided he wanted something more than just okay, something where he knew that the love was very real. He knows he loves me more than I ever loved him, his words, always has, and he hopes that there is enough love in me for him that I'd be willing to do life together as a couple and a family. He's moved back home to his dad's temporarily while he gets himself back together, and he wants us to move in. He wants us to take our time, which works for me. I don't want to rush this. I still have some growing to do for me and he for him, but this time we want to do it together and alongside each other as a team. I used to feel like we were in competition or like I was trying to be a team with someone who wanted to be a soloist. Now he wants to be on a team with me of his choice. I did think about the other person, never wanted her to hurt. And whilst it's not my place, I came across a video by chance on YouTube, and it reminded me even Neville was married to someone else while desiring a marriage to another. And they were able to part ways easily and peacefully when he focused on his end. So I had an inner conversation a few times when I felt low, pretending that he'd come back into my life and tell me that she was okay and that it was a mutual decision to part and that he knew why he wanted to be with me, if I would be willing to give him a chance. I suppose as I did it, there was a little emotional charge. It was easier to drop it. Easier to believe it could happen as I had no means of seeing the middle, so to speak. It's still early, but it's different. This feels lighter, like a cherry on top of a happy new life I've already built. Didn't think I'd ever be able to write this, to be honest, but I'm glad I am. I'm excited to live life and experience the unfolding. I don't know if you'll publish this story, but happy to give you some more details as I've written this over the course of a couple of days because life has been happening. Lots of different celebrations in my world, so finding pockets of time to get this down. In terms of techniques, I affirmed that I was equally entitled to the happiness I wished for others and that the man for me would take the steps he needed to be with me. I was dating at the same time, and dating culture has a lot of ghosting, so I used this to overcome not feeling like enough. I affirmed that I would be ready when the relationship I wanted came into my life. I revised his comments about our history being a bad thing, just that it was the reason why we still loved each other, even if that love was at a distance. Again, accepting that he was probably out of my life in the way I wanted for good. Just saying things to comfort myself. Most importantly, I dropped all this stuff. I lived in the moment. I affirmed when I felt good and I got on with my days and nights. I didn't obsess or hold myself to a regimented schedule because if I was really in the end, I'd be living it, not constantly affirming. Anyway, I say all of this to say thank you for all your support and wisdom. Thank you for the tough love. Hopefully to let this unfold and see what happens for right now. Just being able to have a kiss and a holding hands feels so grounding. His hands feel like home. Glad to have my teammate back. It's going to be cuddles on the sofa for us tonight, watching old episodes of Taskmaster. A scene I created from one of your courses, another thing that felt impossible. Sometimes the 3D lags, but really everything is happening at its own appointed time. Have a lovely Sunday. Wonderful. Wow. Nice one. Nice one, nice one. And Cindy, if you have missed certain parts and you'd still like to share, put it down in the description, not in the description, in the thread where people put the comments. If there's something that you thought, oh, I forgot to write that, or I forgot to explain this. Okay, that's fabulous. There is now 100 specific person or ex-back success story in this playlist as of today. So if you're stuck for inspiration, you got another 99 videos to watch. And I will put the success stories playlist down below, as well as the self-love success stories down below. I think that is a very important playlist that often gets overlooked because people always want to hear the stories about relationship reunion. But if you listen to that playlist, that has a lot to do with what Cindy is talking about. Building yourself up and getting yourself into a good place. So I will see you in the next YouTube. Oh, before I go, shout outs CJ. Welcome to the new members area. Rochelle, welcome to the members area. Melissa Sixby, welcome to the members area. And Tanya, welcome to the members area. You'll be able to pop in there and watch all the members videos. For those of you that don't know about the memberships, it is for you to get extra things. You will get shout outs, you will get gifts, you will get early access to videos, and if you join at the top level, you can have some of my courses, which are $200 US. After you've been a member for about 3 months, you can have one of your choice. So you end up getting the courses for cheaper. So all that is down below in the description. Ah, so exciting. Well done, Cindy.